So now I'm going to talk to you about the Tiger King. It is a topic that I have already introduced in part 1 of the series. Now this is going to be the first part of the lesson. So let's go straight forward. The Tiger King by Kalki. Now Kalki is supposed to be a writer who wrote in Tamil as well as in English. He wrote a lot of short stories, and he lived during the time of the princely states, and he knew what was happening during the princely states. Now let us go ahead with the lesson. The Maharaja of Pratibandhapuram is the hero of this story. He is the protagonist. He is not really a hero. So the word hero itself is a satire on the truth of his situation. He may be identified as His Highness Jamedar General Kiledar Major Sata Vyagraha Samhari Maharaja Diraja Viswabhuvana Samrat Sir Jilani Jungjung Bahadur MAD ACTC or CRCK. But this name is often shortened to the Tiger King. This is how the lesson starts. The Maharaja of Pratibandhapuram, which is the state of Pratibandhapuram, is the hero of the story. He may be identified, that is, if you actually want to know his name, it is His Highness. Now these words, Highness, who can be called Highness, was determined in the princely states by the government, the British government, the British Empire. And Jamedar General, you see the combination, it is a hyphenated word, Jamedar General. You have both the Hindi word as well as the word general, which is in English and representative of the equivalent rank in the army. Kiledar Major, similarly. And then you have Sata Vyagra Samhari. Sata is 100. Vyagra Samhari refers to the one who killed tigers. So the killer of 100 tigers is what it probably means. Maharaja Diraja Vishwa. So that Maharaja Diraja is something that was given by the British Empire to people who were of high rank among the princely states. So it was of high status, Maharaja Diraja. Viswa Bhuvana. Maybe if you actually split down the meaning, it is the whole universe. Samrat, Emperor. Sir Jilani Jingjing Bahadur. 3 J's, alliteration. Jilani Jungjung Bahadur. Now, if anybody were to announce the name so long and then add so many words, which sounds a little funny, you get the idea that the author is trying to make fun of the person who has got a name like that. And then you see the words that the letters that follow as his title, MAD, which can easily be understood as mad, ACTC, and then there is the word or. So this ACTC is equal to CRCK. So CRCK is, you just need an A to in the middle to make it crack. So mad crack. The fun element still persists. But this name is often shortened to Tiger King. Usually people call him Tiger King because this is a great mouthful to be able to pronounce. I have come forward to tell you why he came to be known as Tiger King, starts the narrator. I came forward to tell you why he was called the Tiger King. So that is the focus, not the rest of his name. I have no intention of pretending to advance only to end in a strategic withdrawal. I don't intend to pretend as if I am starting and then make us beat a retreat. It doesn't say beat a retreat, he says make a strategic withdrawal, which is an equivalent, but it doesn't sound, it's euphemistic, it doesn't sound so damaging, right? To end the strategic withdrawal, even the threat of a Stuka bomber will not throw me off track, he says. Even if a Stuka bomber were to threaten to destroy me, to bomb me out of the earth, I still would not stop telling the story. I'm certainly going to tell the story, he says. The Stuka bomber, if it likes, can beat a hasty retreat. So now here comes the actual terms that he should have used. Beat a hasty retreat. If the Stuka bomber, it's treated almost like an animal, a threatening animal, a tiger itself coming to threaten to kill him. So it can run away from me if it wants, if it likes, and beat a hasty retreat from my story. Just imagine a bomber running away from a man who's standing on the ground with nothing but his mouth and his tongue to defend himself with. Again, mockery. Right at the start, right at the beginning of my narration, it is imperative, it is compulsory to disclose a matter of vital importance, to reveal a matter that is very important, he says. He says it's very important, it sounds very important, the way he says it. And then, you know what that is? Uh, about the Tiger King. Everyone who reads of him will experience the natural desire to meet a man of his indomitable courage face to face. Anyone who hears the story of his life and how brave he was would want to meet him, but that face to face meeting cannot take place. But there is no chance of its fulfillment, he concludes. As Bharata said to Rama about Dasaratha, now he brings in Ramayana, he brings in the story of Rama and Dasaratha, and then he tells how Bharata faced Rama for the first time. When he had to tell the news of the death of their father, and he says, as Bharata said to Rama about Dasaratha, the Tiger King has reached that final abode of all living creatures. The Tiger King, just like he said about Dasaratha, I tell you about the Tiger King. He is reached the abode of all living creatures after they die, the house of all living creatures after they die, final abode of all living creatures. In other words, the Tiger King is dead. I hope you have understood what it all means. The manner of his death, the way in which he died, is a matter of extraordinary interest. If you want to know the way in which he died, you know, you're in luck, it's going to be quite interesting, he says. It can be revealed only at the end of the tale. So he makes it, he really advertises the story that he's about to say. He says, I can only tell it to you towards the end, almost like a serial. He says, I'll have to drag you until the end of the story and tell you how he died. The most fantastic aspect of his demise, the most unbelievable part of his death, demise, again, grand words, was that as soon as he was born, astrologers had foretold that one day the Tiger King would actually have to die. Anticlimax. He says, the fantastic thing about the story is astrologers predicted that he will die. I don't think it requires us or requires an astrologer to be able to predict that a man who is born would die, whoever it is, even if it is the king. The child will grow up to become the warrior of warriors, hero of heroes, champion of champions, but he will die. That's what it means. He will become greater than any warrior, more heroic than any hero, and greater champion than all the champions that were available till then. But he hesitated. They bit their lips and swallowed hard. This is the group of astrologers maybe represented by one chief astrologer who is an important character in the story. They bit their lips and swallowed hard, none of them revealing the truth that needs to be revealed. And then what happens is, he says, when compelled to continue, when they were forced to continue, the astrologers came out with it, burst out with the truth. This is a secret which should not be revealed at all. This is something that is so deep and so frightening that we should not reveal it. Doesn't sound as if there is any need for all this, let's say, delaying. Something very minor it seemed. And yet we are forced to speak out. Since you say that we have to speak out, we will speak out, says the astrologers to who would want to ask. And yet we are forced to speak out. The child born under the star will one day have to meet its death. As if the child born under any other star need not meet death. At that very moment, a great miracle took place. At the very moment that he said that, a great miracle took place. When everybody was asking these questions, the prince himself wanted to ask certain questions. An astonishing phrase emerged from the lips of the 10-day-old Jilani Junjun Bahadur. And that was, "O wise prophets." How is it that the little 10-day-old Jilani Junjun Bahadur spoke? He did not learn any language and yet it spoke. It seems. No explanation given. And what Kalki was probably trying to point out was the Indians didn't really need explanation for magical occurrences like this, especially when it was the question of a king, when it is a question of their king especially. He was probably divine and he had divine powers and he could do divine things, extraordinary, supernatural, miraculous things at will. Everyone stood transfixed in stupefaction. Everybody was shocked. They were so shocked that they were, frozen with shock. Transfixed, frozen, stupefaction, shock. They looked wildly at each other and blinked. They looked at each other and they blinked, wondering what was happening. "O wise prophets," continued the baby. "It was I who spoke." So now the prophets were no longer that shocked and they realized what they thought was the truth was really the truth. It was the baby who spoke. This time there was no ground for doubt. It was the infant born just 10 days ago who had enunciated the words so clearly. It was the 10-day-old baby who had spoken these words so clearly. The chief astrologer took off his spectacles and gazed intently at the baby in a state of shock. Right? "All those who are born will one day have to die," he says. Chief astrologer, the important character other than the king here, he says, all those who are, he is completely surprised and he keeps looking, and the baby announces to him, to his shock, all those who are born will one day have to die. And the astrologer is shocked that such wisdom proceeds from the mouth of a 10-day-old baby when he could not say it. It looks like somebody is making fun of the astrologers, as if they are so dumb that they can't realize that small thing. There would be some sense in it if you could tell us the manner of that death. It will be quite sensible if you can tell us, is telling himself, about himself, by us probably himself, the pontifical plural. How I'll die. If you can tell us how I'm going to die, how we are going to die, there would be more sense in it. The royal infant uttered these words in his little squeaky voice, because its vocal cords are not really grown and it should be quite squeaky. The chief astrologer placed his finger on his nose. Now, in Tamil, because Kalki was mainly a Tamil writer, there is a phrase like ஆச்சரியத்துல மூக்கு மேல விரல வச்சிட்டான்பா. Probably is translating that in surprise, in a state of shock, he was so moved to shock that he put his finger on his nose. Doesn't occur in English, but then I think it occurs in other Indian languages too, like Hindi. I think it does occur. And he has translated it, making it look even more funny. An astrologer placed his finger on his nose in wonder. A baby barely 10 days old opens its lips in speech. Not only that, it also raises intelligent questions. Incredible, unbelievable. He says, unbelievable. It's not possible, he says. How can it speak? And that shock is what draws his fingertip to his nose. Right? Rather like the bulletins issued by the War Office than facts. Here is again another snide remark at the war notices. That used to be produced by the War Office, and which proclaimed that their side had a greater number of victories and lesser number of failures, and the enemy were more or less crushed in the recent battle, things like that. No, because they are all unbelievable. As it was as unbelievable as that, and he clearly says here that you can't believe these notices at all. The chief astrologer took his finger off his nose. Actually, we do have putting your finger on the nose translated in Tamil or in any other Indian language, many other Indian languages. But you do not have the reverse, which is taking off the finger of the nose in a state of double shock. It doesn't happen. Again, mockery. The chief astrologer took his finger off his nose and fixed his eye upon the little prince. The prince was born in the hour of the bull, he proclaims, makes a statement, maybe looking more severe. The bull and the tiger are enemies. Now the bull refers to the constellation, maybe Taurus, referring to the bull, and the tiger are enemies. Now he is confusing constellation and real tiger. I don't know whether there is a constellation called the tiger constellation. There is a lion, a Leo, no tiger. He says the bull and the tiger are enemies. Maybe if it had said that he would be killed by a lion, then there would have been some sense in this logic. The prince was born in the hour of the bull. The bull and the tiger are enemies. So since you are, by inference, it means you are the bull. Your enemy is the tiger. Since you are born under the bull, you are the bull. And maybe somebody born under the tiger, maybe the enemy. No, he doesn't use that logic. All through the whole short story, there are a lot of problems with logic. And these problems with logic are actually quite indicative of how much this person is actually not talking about a real story, but something that somebody cooked up in order to sort out certain problems.